Hello everybody, it's Friday night and it is Weekender time once more, and we've another packed show filled with all the hobby goodness that's caught our eye over the last 7 days, including the usual old indie of the week, some news and Kickstarters. Speaking of which, we also have a prize from DakkaDakka store from their Pactum Aeternum Kickstarter that's currently running. If you are a backer, you can be in with a chance to win the maximum set. All 3 sets of armies, kit, caboodle, the 3D printed lot. To be in with a chance to win that, you need to pop a comment down below here on YouTube and be a backer. So you'll probably be required to give your backer number and your backer email when you claim your prize. Otherwise, sit back and relax because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined this week by Ben and John, as Shay has had his leg removed. I've been advised that we'll grow back, like most things are, so, you know. And leaner fighting machine this week, trimming off the fat.
We can rebuild
it. Well, yeah. It would be very much like the Homer Simpson one where it's all like plastic sporks and stuff, you know. The dollar man. Anyway, yeah, we've got a fun-filled show to bring you this week. But we've a couple of things before we kick into that. One, to let you know that Dungeonalia has properly got underway.
It has. Yeah.
There are already some projects in the project system, which is good. Yeah. However, it runs for the next 3 months, so no need to panic. In fact, more than 3 months. All of January, it ends at the start of February, or the start of March, doesn't it? Yeah. It doesn't run all the way through to spring. We've left ourselves a buffer between that and spring clean. Well done, us.
Yeah. So you can go and buy more materials.
It's a way to do it. So if you're unaware, Dungeonalia is just our attempt to get people doing stuff during the cold, wintry nights. And if you're in Australia, I understand that that's hilarious right now because I think they hit like 55 degrees this week. But for people in the Northern Hemisphere, the cold, wintry nights, great time to go dungeon delving. And you can do it in any way, shape, or form you wish, in any game you want. And we will trawl through them at the end and find ones that I think best epitomize some of our categories. So for the stonemason is building a 3-dimensional dungeon. Could be an alien-filled ship that some Marines have to butcher their way through. Dungeon Architects is for your 2D, whether it's pen and paper, hex grids.
Break out the graph paper. Yeah.
Or those virtual tabletops that I believe the kids like these days.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have something for everyone, regardless of whether you are a role player, a dungeoneer, a miniature gamer, or just somebody who likes to do a bit of fun and games, tormenting your friends as a DM. So it's all good to have. There's a variety of prizes as well, which you'll find out more of as we go through our Dungeonalia.
Yes, they will pop up.
But the important thing is, if you want to get involved, you need to come over to OnTableTop, go to the project system, which is here. There's people making Barroom Brawl. That's just tormenting me now because I don't know where I've put mine. Go up here and add a project. So to do that, you'll need to be a site member, but it's free. You can just join up, add your project, and when you do, you'll get a page like this, and you can title it whatever you want. Oh, that would help if I typed in the thing. Gary's excellent winning project.
That might be the way for you to get noticed, I think, if you put that, So,
whatever it happens to be, whether it's army report, blah, 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 train building, blah, 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 there's a lot of stuff. And then the most important one, actually the most important two, is related contrast, Dungeonalia, and then this bit where it says visibility, change that to publish
Yes.
Otherwise, only I will see it. And I will see it because that's all I do, is spend my time looking through people's private projects to see what they're doing and why is it not public. I'm like that. What can I say? Anyway, if you do all of these things, then you too may win prizes that could contain things. And who doesn't want things?
Exactly.
And sometimes stuff.
You need more stuff to help you get started in the new year, clearly. So,
I always think so. You know what they say. New year, ridiculous amount of new projects started. I think that's the old...
And they have to have battle reports in them for Jerry.
They have to have battle reports, well, I'm not saying you won't win if you don't have battle reports. I'm just saying you won't win if you don't battle. No. Unfortunately, I am not the deciding vote, so you may win even without battle reports. But anyway, you've got plenty of time, so why not get involved in that?
Yes.
Ben, as people watch this, you're getting packed up to go off to the big smoke.
I am, yeah.
And play around with board games, is it?
Yeah, so tomorrow is the awesome sort of board game hobby fest that they're doing at the British Library, in sort of line with the Realms of Imagination exhibit that they've been doing down there over the last couple of weeks, and we'll be carrying through into next year as well. Me and Justin are going to be down there covering that and having a look at what they're showing off, all the board game stuff they're going to be doing and everything like that as well. We'll also be delving into the exhibition itself once again and talking with some of the curators and the people working on the different projects that are happening over the next couple of months as well. I know beyond the board game event that's happening this weekend, they're also going to be doing a whole host of talks and all sorts of different things over the next couple of months through to sort of next year, where they'll be having fantasy authors and people who are top in their field coming along and talking about why fantasy is awesome. As you'll have seen, I did go and check it out myself during a little press preview. Yes, there is a little bit of Buffy there as well, which is really cool. And it was really fun, sort of looking around at the different books and things that they've got there, and the art pieces and the props from movies and everything like that too. And it's been a really well put together exhibition that sort of really delves into fantasy and all the different facets of it and why it's such an awesome genre. So yes, if you're interested in board games and all that kind of good stuff, maybe as you're watching this, you could go and check out the ticket link down below. There will be one where you can go and check out. You can sort of register your interest to go along and take part in the board game day tomorrow, which is between 10 and 4, I believe. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go and do it. Also sponsored by UK Games Expo as well, which is really cool. So they've come and helped out with that one to provide the board games and things, which has been really cool. And obviously Whaling Games involved as well at bringing that exhibition to life, which is really nice. So
fancy stuff.
Definitely go and check it out. Yeah.
What are you hoping to get on camera then? Is there anything particular that you've seen at the preview that you're going, I want to go back and look at that in more detail or talk up to X?
Well, there's some really nice stuff there from that kind of early period of fantasy. So before it became a genre, I guess, that you'd expect it to be now. So it's kind of looking back at things like Brothers Grimm and all that kind of thing and fairy tales and where that's come from. It'd be really nice to go and have another proper look at that and sort of explore that zone a little bit more. As a fan of Tolkien, I quite enjoy that little section that they've got dedicated to heroes and epic quests, which is always fun. But then the other bit that I didn't necessarily get to have too much time in is looking a little bit more towards sort of modern fantasy and the sort of the weird stuff that they've been sort of looking at in more recent years, I guess, and looking at things like work by Neil Gaiman and things as well, which has been really cool. So yeah, it's definitely worth going to check out. And it's not too far from Euston Station. So if you wanted to head down to London and be like, where am I? Oh, don't worry, the British Library has just left.
Oh, that's handy.
So there you go.
Just turn left. I'd little heart skip a beat moments whenever you go and the curators are there, and then I realised that the curator I want to see isn't going to be there because he's not British Library, he's British Museum.
Oh,
but Irvin Finkel, I'm thinking of you.
Right.
The absolute legend with a majestic beard and a love of cuneiform. Anyway, right, enough of what people are going to be getting up to. Let's talk about what we're doing right now, which is the most important part of the show. It is the Indie of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
And this week, it's LED Adventure Miniatures. So, people may or may not be aware of the LED Adventure Forum, which has been running for years. Got hosted. It was by Nick from North Star, like a ween of years ago.
Oh wow!
Because it was gonna go away, and it was like, you know what, I don't want this to go away. And it is a home for gamers of all ilks, whether it's historic or sci-fi or fantasy. You'll find something in there that will interest and excite you. And in there are also talented fellows who have done a lot of sculpting, and you often see people going, "Oh, I've just done this for my army," because you can't get X, Y, or Z. And then so many people are going, "Oh, that's great. Can I buy one?" Oh, no, I'm trying to sculpt it for me. You can't. So off the back of that, there are several sculptors who'd been doing a lot of stuff, and then were either getting small releases through other companies or doing small runs themselves, and it was a bit difficult to get their hands on stuff. So Professor Wichheimer, probably Wichheimer, because he's German, or Alex, with Ratnik, spun off the LED Adventure miniatures about a dozen years ago now, and has been adding to it ever since. And it's a delight. And I'm not entirely certain how we haven't come around to this one beforehand. I know partly we haven't come around to it because there's quite a lot in it, and I keep going, oh, we need it for like a period when we can really explore it in all its many facets. But Ratnik is Alex stuff, and then there's a few other pieces from other members of the LED Adventure Forum. So sci-fi, fantasy, and Victorian sci-fi, or steamy punks, as people like to think of it. I'm going to start with the dot stings because they don't have an image up front, and a lot of people will therefore skip them by, and you don't want to skip them because they're a lovely bunch of things. I'm not sure what you would call them. They're little fat halfling / hobbity type affairs with a very Dickensian feel to them. You know, if you wanted to play sharp out as a fat halfling, you could do it with the tall stings.
You could do. Yeah.
They feel like those collectibles that you always used to see when you were in school. You know, the little egg hatching rounded duck things. They kind of have that kind of vibe about them. Yeah. Maybe I'm completely wrong and just completely off the mark. I'm trying to be Justin, but I shouldn't be.
The bases kind of remind me of in the collectible vein, you know, the little bobble-headed football players you used to get?
Ooh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But reversed.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah. I mean,
they're really well done. I like those.
Imagine breaking out Silver Bayonet and having these little munchkin fellows attempting to stop a werewolf twice their size.
Yeah, these would be really cool if you were putting them together with the stuff that. Oh, what are they called? They're the folks that do the Nog in the Nog range. The Toy Soldier Company.
Little
Toy Soldier Company. Which one was it? Little Soldier Company. That's the one. Yes, they're doing like a range of sort of squat little Napoleonic fellows, which I think would be really nice to put alongside these. Actually, that'd be a really nice addition. Yeah,
but they are just absolutely baffling, and I love them. Yeah. I wonder if the Tolsting is some sort of Tolstoy.
It might be actually. Yeah.
Thing because he looks like a Russian.
He does, yeah.
Look at the mutton chops on that fella. Anyway, so yes, tall stings, small, perfectly formed. Don't want to miss out on them. The dwarves. Oh, Ben, you're not going to like the dwarves.
This is the range that I remember them from, because when I started working with beasts and doing news and stuff for them, well, for you guys, for us, this was the range that I remember seeing popping up all the time. It was like every week there'd be new set of dwarves that would come out, or every couple of weeks, and you'd be like, oh, that'd be fantastic if you were using these to represent, you know, your dwarves in your Warhammer Fantasy games and all that kind of good stuff. They're just so full of character, and I one of the things I always say about dwarves, if you get the beards right, you've nailed the miniatures. And I think in most cases, the beards look amazing. So they count.
Oh, they've all been conditioned, highly conditioned.
Oh, yeah. Lovely ringlets.
Yeah. And the thing is, because obviously this is 2023, he said, checking the calendar to make sure. Some of these ranges,
just in case it's actually the initial ones next year.
Yeah, that kicked off back in 2010. So some of them have had 13 years. Other ones are more recent. But it means that there's a fairly substantial amount of things in the range. Look at Goblin Berserkers, you say? Sorry, Goblin Bearers. That makes more sense. But look, there's something in the sack. Hit it with your mace.
Exactly. Yeah. It's being dragged into the hold by a nefarious goblin.
Can't trust them. Thieving goblins.
Yeah.
Filling themselves up with all the nutritious things that they could find to eat in the dwarf's quarters and stealing all their mining tools as well. Yeah. How do you confuse a goblin? Put 3 spades in a corner and tell him to take his pick. Bada boom. Anyway.
Awful.
That is amazing, and you know it. Absolutely amazing. This is a nice little feature as well that they have thrown in, which is the supplemental bits. And some of the ranges have more than others, but, there's a set of 4 candles. Candles for me folk. Or the little treasure bits.
Amazing. Yeah.
And those are really nice just to have as base accessories, or put them on a base individually and then use them for objective markers as well. Including that crazy looking stone statue and range of busts. Say range of busts, they may actually just be things that sit on a table and then a dwarf just puts his helmet on it at night. Helmet stand.
A helmet stand, yeah. Well, you do it as like an armor stand as well, potentially. That could be kind of cool. Yeah.
The choice is yours. Prospectress and Torchbearer. So yeah, the dwarves are delightful, even when they're thieving a dragon's egg. Or playing to the balcony. Run away. I mean, that's not going to end well for anyone. And if they're planning on making an omelette, they'll need their pickaxes.
Yes, very true.
Because that's going to be tricky to get into. If anybody's ever opened an ostrich egg will know. May as well take a hammer and chisel to it. Dwarf Rat Blues. That's very Pratchett. I imagine he's out looking for lunch. Back with a bag full of rats. Ketchup costs extra. So yeah. Dwarves are all delightful. We'll stick with the fantasy before we go anywhere else. So have a look at Brugelberg. And these are your more fantasy citizens. Doing anything from populating a town to fighting the good fight. Or to trumpeting. Look at that. Master of the Butcher's Guild with accompanying squire trumpeting him into the room. Like the sausage on a fork. Heraldry as well. It's a good look.
You see a little bit of reverse Moonstone aesthetic going on here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of looks like, Moonstone took maybe some of this as a touch of inspiration to it.
It's that
sort of
borderline
dramatic
comic
fantasy kind of thing going on there as well, which I think is quite cool. Yeah.
Everybody loves a massive flambeage and a spoon. So more from the Butcher's Guild, doing the butcher's own work. Bloodline. It's alright, it's not painted yet.
Yep.
Market woman with many wheels of cheeses. So what else we got lurking in here? We've poppers. And we've jesters. But I notice one of them seems to have crossed over from one to the other.
A lot of really good sort of table filler.
Great for dioramas and great for skirmish games set in towns and stuff like that. A word and jest. You too can get hit over the head with a motley. Nobody wants that. They might want that. They're not getting that. Have a quick look down towards the bottom. I like him. He's very good if you plan on doing Dogs of War or Empire for Warhammer. Because, I mean, that's very just good. Screaming off the deep end. I've got all the money.
The most amazing Elector Count.
Well, that's still Marius Leitdorf. But the second most amazing Elector Count. Good luck on him. And there's one of the previous foot-based Master of the Butcher's Guild, now updone with his horse.
Mm-hmm.
Sausages as the reins in links, sausage heraldry on the front, crossed fork. It's great. Everything about this is absolutely insane. And I also appreciate the fact that they've done it all in yellow and black as well. Best colours. Best colours to do. So yeah, Brugelberg has a whole host of fantasy nonsense, which would be right up anybody's street for Mordheim and Warhammer and anything else, all points in between. Ninth Age heroes as well. You can get a lot of them in here.
Mm.
And as you can see, it does go on somewhat. There's some commander. We'll have a look at commandos before we run away. Hello, Metal Militia Command. That man has got a lot of riveting going on. That man is going to hurt somebody when he punches them.
Or fall over on them.
Or fall over on them, yeah. Either way works. It's all good in the hood.
Mm.
So, disappearing from the fantasy. Actually, we'll go fantasy adjacent. You're talking about what we think of fantasy when people were telling stories. So Arabian Nights is probably one of the most well-known of those style of fantasy stories. And these have got a look all of their own with the Nor-Esseman Knights. And he's a Grand Vizier. And as we learned from Pratchett, the minute you give somebody the title Grand Vizier, they turn into a complete bastard. Don't know what it is. Give a man a turban with a pointy bit in the top of it, and they just start hanging people up by their thumbs. And again, that really fun side of fantasy, the sort of the Pratchett-esque meets Warhammer Old World. You can see them running about the place. Wise men of the East, very appropriate for the time of year. Only 2 of them.
Have them bringing some interesting gifts. Yes.
Like
you rolled to see what they are.
We all agreed there was a minimum and a maximum. Nobody had any need to turn up with gold. I was just taking the piss. You're making everybody else look bad.
Are you doing Secret Savior this year? Yeah.
You two can get cuisine of the finest type.
There's a lot of old school charm in all this as well.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember this is around 2011. Some of the pictures have been saying it's like I had just left for uni, so all the stuff was brand spanking new and like really friggin' cool back in the day.
Yeah.
Look, they've got a magic
that's
carpet.
A really nice magic carpet. I like that. Yeah.
And just like the dwarves, if I go down, deeper and down, and start rocking the Casbah, there's also some little goods and trinkets and bits. Look, it's one of those stuffed elephant things.
Yeah.
Spices everywhere. And court musicians. In like Flynn, playing his one-string fiddle there. Good for all the family. So, yes.
They are very nice. It's the kind of stuff that will be really good for people doing role play stuff. I know you would say otherwise, Jerry, but I think it's a great little selection of stuff for people to make characters and create interesting scenes on the tabletop. But then obviously use them in your skirmish games as well, and drop them into those.
Well, speaking of skirmish, the post-apocalyptic tunnel type people, Ash Waste Nomad / Mad Max, you two can have all the fun of the fair, butchering your way through a whole host of mutant radioactive zone dogs. And why would you not? I mean, look at them. I'd shoot them if they came towards me, even if they were saying things like, please, we're hungry, we need food. You know, you're too radioactive for my liking.
Too heavily armed for this.
No, that's just to get rid of the rats. Oh, the size of the rats in the post-apocalyptic future is just ridiculous. That's why you have street judges as well. Combat shields a go-go. We'll ask the question. That street judge appears to be rocking a silence pistol. Maybe they're not the good guys either.
Maybe.
Just can't tell. That's the delight of the post-apocalypse.
Or if you're a Modern Warfare 3 fan, apparently you can get a silenced crossbow.
Oh, well, that makes sense. These are particularly fun. Have a quick look. See, I told you. Mutant radioactive zombie things. Stay away from the children of the zone. But for anybody who's a fan of Tintin, you too can have Tintin, Haddock, Snowy at the end. There's the professor. And the, I'm trying to remember the twins. What were they called? Two brothers.
Oh, I can't remember.
I'm going to call them the Charlton brothers. I know they're not that.
It was something like that, though, wasn't it?
It was like Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah.
But that's also baby shampoo, so I can't be entirely certain that that's what it is. Anyway, you've got that, and you've also got the contaminated seas. Now, I mean, Captain Ahab and friends, why is he using a swordfish-type nose as a weapon? Well, actually, we know why he's using it, because it's bloody dangerous. But they're a frightening look. If they showed up on Waterworld with Kevin Costner, he wouldn't have been pissing in a bottle. He'd been pissing his pants. Anyway, there's an arms seller and a rat catcher. A dead people. Everybody loves dead people. Look, Justin's had to sell guns to make ends meet in the future.
That's the kind of thing he'd do, I think.
That is true.
I don't know. Not to be harsh on him or anything. I think he just curl up and die.
It's the kind of thing he'd want to do.
It's what in his head, this is what he's doing.
It's an aspirational apocalypse.
In our head, we're all Negan, but in reality, we're already walkers.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say he's selling guns there, but what he's actually got in his hands is
an RPG rocket and a grenade.
Yeah, so that's false advertising there.
That's definitely a Justin thing.
Is trading standards still a thing in the future? Post-apocalypse. Fill your boots with a rat.
Yeah. Fill
your belly with a rat. Dead people. Poor dead stalkers. So, I mean, for Zone Alpha fans and stuff like that, there's a wealth of stuff in here. See, giant rats, size of badgers, take your legs straight off. And it wouldn't be Christmas without Contaminated Santa going from house to house on Christmas Eve and filling a sack with whatever stuff you've got in there. And if you get out of bed, you get shot.
I feel a lot of this could fit into Fallout Wasteland Warfare as well.
Oh yeah,
obviously the gun aesthetics are different, but I mean the general vibe is right.
So yes, the post-apocalypse is a terrible, terrible place. A much nicer place to play is Victoriana. So they've got sort of two sets that drop into here quite nicely: the Heroes and Villains, and then the steampunky set. So these are just absolutely delightful. They're proper, Dickensian sci-fi steampunk. A little bit woo, a little bit weird. The geezers. Yeah, I think he's a chimney sweep. That's why he has grappling hooks so he can get up there.
Yeah, he doesn't use ladders.
No.
Fish the children out of the chimneys.
Yeah. Would this have been the era of kind of like Volsong being as big as it was and stuff? I guess it would.
Yeah, Volsong would have been coming in, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, these were, as you can see, denizens of the smog. Mm-hmm. Remember Smog was Smog Raiders and stuff like that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
Unfortunately,
I
think they've all gone away these days. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Inspector Semaphore and Constable Chopham. I mean, would you report a crime to them? Is it more likely that they've committed the crime on you? I think so.
Or are about to.
Yeah. Night fighting ladies. And Bonnie and Clyde.
Ooh, the steam horses are cool.
Yeah, I want to see the horses.
Yeah.
Don't do anything for you. Clippity clop.
It's Commissar Yarrick on a mechanical steam.
Oh yeah.
Steampunk Yarrick.
Wonder if he's stolen that off some kind of steampunky gremlin or something. Yeah.
Could have happened.
Oh, that's cool as well. I love that.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Love the reeling.
It's something you always
Really
see in
quite.
cosplay stuff, people playing around with like steampunk version of X or whatever. And so it's good. I always like seeing that in miniature form as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's something that Twisted do really well, or Demented Games do really well.
Yeah. The Twisted line's spanking.
Mm.
Hoping to see more from them next year. The event slowed things down somewhat for them. So, Rise of the Ottomans, including Chemical Squads. So, yeah, some interesting steampunky bits and pieces. Look at that.
Proper flamboyant there.
It's a fantastic fez.
That is lovely. Yeah.
The Chemical Squad. Don't trust them. Keep them arm's length. Paint them up like suaves. They look good. They look very good. So that's our Victorian sci-fi, but the heroes and villains are similar, although more sort of standalone character models. So still that steampunk Victorian sci-fi feel to them, but without being as rigidly Victoriana, I suppose.
That's a terrifying needle.
Oh, I mean, that's fantastic. Presumably it doesn't come with that needle. You have to insert that yourself. And just like all my other things, it would draw blood on a regular basis. So, par for the course. There's Assistant Oleg. He makes sure that you stay under when the nurse is administering to you.
Yeah.
He does that via mallet.
Very nice.
The field experiment, Zed.
Just Zed.
Yeah, just Zed. Just Zed.
Yeah.
Don't worry about him. The professor reckons he can probably keep him on track. So, I mean, it's just a gorgeous set of madness.
It really is.
A couple of Nosferatu, handy for people playing a whole host of games at the moment. If you need a little creepy Nosferatu to lurk in the corner.
Well, again, a lot of this aesthetic plays into the likes of 7TV and that kind of ilk of game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just a range looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
I'm sure that means something. I'm not getting it, though. All I can think of is a mixture of Blind Fury and the Hitchhiker with Rukar.
It's just younger Ron Perlman with a really big cap.
Could be that.
True.
Please stop sending me this.
Astropolis is such a good little range as well.
Yeah, see. Why have we not been here before? Is it because there's always something else?
I think we may have flirted with it at one point, or perhaps it was so far away a long time ago in a galaxy that we may have completely forgotten. But yeah, they're so good. Yeah,
love them. They look like something that you would see in 40s and 50s sci-fi. Not these though. They look too competent to be in any science fiction from that era. Although that may still be a monkey. Put a chimp in it, it'll be fine. Like Battlestar Galactica. Go ahead and put a chimp
in one and a duck in the other one. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, the
mechanics.
The robot dog in Battlestar Galactica was played by a chimp in a suit.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Don't think we get away with it these days.
Yeah, no.
Poor old
spaceship
Monkey.
Mechanics. Good for a little bit of
Stargrave?
core space stuff or Stargrave. Yeah. There's also that, is it the Colony 87 range that 7TV do? You could mix these in with those very nicely, I think. So
you could. Then you would miss out on some things. These minion-looking oxbots, bound to have a use for those.
Yeah.
Not sure what. But I'll find one.
Yeah.
Again.
Objective markers.
Objective markers are a good default. And those swamp diggers are just very wrong. Not right. What's happening? Why is he floating? They all float down here. Just have him drifting along like he's in 0G, just gently, creepily, or maybe hanging off the ceiling.
Put him on a little flight stand.
Yeah.
Maybe they use the swamp gases to hover through or something. Yeah.
But I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's Jodorowsky levels of insanity.
It really is.
That big disc full of cabling going straight into his face. And why? No reason. It's just an aesthetic choice he made, because in the future, body modification, it's all, ear piercings. So 1,000 years ago, just plug 20 pipes straight into my face instead. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll be happier for it.
I too wish to not navigate doors correctly.
Kroglogs.
Kroglogs.
Yeah.
You just have to get up and poke them in the eyes. Do you do that by standing very still right in front of them in that dead space where they can't see you?
Giving off some Hitchhikers Go to the Galaxy vibes. Yeah.
It's all good in the hood. And other little weird and wonderful things. We'll finish off with these little doohickeys. See who's coming home. More strange, bug-eyed Krorlock things. Dad's just come home from doing door-to-door salesman in a galaxy. That's a long old route.
I've been going to planet and everyone keeps closing their hyperloops on me.
And the Tweakies. Delightful little creepy baby things.
Amazing.
It's very Galaxy Quest. Maybe they're the miners. Yeah, sure. That'd be
miners, not miners.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like
to think of them as being absolutely terrifying. Like they're so small, but they will rip your face off, like the bunny from like Holy Grail and stuff. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it is just get in and batter everybody to hell and back. But so there we go. The LED Adventure Miniatures range. They do come out of Germany, so fine for people in the EU, fine for people in Northern Ireland. Sucks to be you in Great Britain. You can still get them, you just have to pay more. Anyway, right, enough of that. Time for some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
All right, we're back with the news, and we're kicking things off with a big old collaboration. A trifecta between MyMiniFactory, Free League Publishing, and Titan Forge Games.
Interesting.
So, interesting it is, young cub. Interesting it is. So, MyMiniFactory have had a subscription service for a while where you would get bonuses and stuff and loot boxes on a monthly basis. This year, they have decided to launch the adventure as a replacement for that, where you'll still get the bits and pieces they were talking about, but so much more besides. The idea is to make the subscription themed towards, in this case, the first year will be themed towards Dragonbane from Free League, where every month you'll get not just miniatures, but actually the game, bits and pieces to go with it, and then also loot boxes will still be part and parcel of it. So this shows what the old subscription service was. So standard 10% off in the store, 20-file loot box from 4 creators, no ads, and then deals from manufacturers. That's all still there. But on top of that, they're adding the files from Titan Forge based on the Free League designs.
Oh, that's cool.
And also each month will be a chapter of the campaign from the Dragonbane box set. So
good.
These are the pre-gen characters. That's kind of what the renders look like currently.
Nice. Yep.
As I went through the rulebook,
yes,
I saw Baston Bloodjaw. I'm going to say Baston because it's got to be said French, right? And I saw him and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a miniature of him? Lo and behold.
I'll go one better, matey boy.
Oh, baby Jesus.
I don't know how to navigate. Oh, I'm looking at those upside downs.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Is that like a modern Lloyd shot from below?
That's it.
Wow.
They come with little scenic bases as well.
Very nice.
Now, I will say, because I've seen several people commenting on this, they don't come supported. You have to put the supports on yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a deal breaker for people or not. I cherish the ignorance. I literally subscribe to get them. I'm hoping that a real manufacturer will produce miniatures at some point, so I would have to rely on
see them on Etsy or something
on the 3D
probably.
printings.
Yeah.
But just in case, I thought it was better to be safe than sorry. So they're all based on Johan Ehrkran's illustrations. I know he does a lot of miniature painting as well. So I asked him the other day, I was like, have you had a chance to get your hands on something yet to paint them up? And he went, no. Is this official? We're going, yes. Yes, it is. So maybe we'll see some from Johan. If people haven't seen his 40K stuff is absolutely stunning.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I follow him on Instagram. Oh my God.
It's ridiculous how nice it is. So the opening sort of pack from MyMiniFactory this month is those 5 characters. And then beyond that, the adventure, because it is the adventure, also contains a whole host of other bits and pieces on top of that. So if I go here, the adventure lives up in this corner. See? The adventure. And you can see what you're going to get. So 30% off this month from Chronicle, who do dice and paintbrushes and stuff.
I thought it was a pot of fantasy themed Pringles.
Pringles, yes. You would not be not been alone in that one. But then also the 20 free items from creators this month contains a whole host of stuff like miniatures, but also full 5e sort of compatible things. So there's Doggers and Dragons.
The Bestest Boys.
Which contains a whole rake of dog-based things. So Cerberus, obviously dog-based, but a Bulldog Hydra, the Luck Dragon, which is that Chinese dragon with a dog head on it, going about
and the end
story.
Boss is an XL bully,
and the Dog Knights as well. So they've moved away from just doing STLs to make it more sort of comprehensive. So you can get in here and have your Sugar Plum Fairy and the Nutcracker, or the Heart of Winter, and then some models to go with as well. So they're really changing up the subscription service to be more than just
the files.
Here's a bucket load of minis to print every month, to actually make it more comprehensive and combined arms, if you will. Not just the figures, but also the games to go with. So it'll be fascinating to see how people take that on and what people think of it. I haven't seen, presumably I have access to Chapter 1 from DoD as well. I haven't seen where that lives because I'm very bad at navigating things like that. I have the core book anyway, but it didn't look like it was a VTT thing. Although I do know Dragon Bane is on a virtual tabletop from Free League, so maybe it is. But considering the other bits and pieces they do as far as supplements go tends to be geared towards PDFs, I imagine it's like a PDF version of the requisite chapter from the campaign. So it just means between now and next December you'll have 12 months worth of campaign. So if you only get together once a month, you've got your month's worth of RPG planned out for the next year. I'll be fascinated to see some of the. I think next month is the Undead White. So there's a few other Johan illustrations that are just really, really stonking. So I'd be interested to see what they do with them rendering into the third dimension. And I suppose people will also be interested to see whether or not they put supports on them in the end. Because that apparently is the thing. How difficult is it to support stuff yourself, John?
It's you're kind of, if you're not used to it, you're kind of setting yourself up for a failure. You're potentially having more chances of failures with your own supports unless you really know what you're doing. Auto supports are fine. You will still have issues here and there. So, I mean, a pre-support option down the line would be ideal.
The fact it's come from Titan Forge leads me to believe that they're more than capable of doing.
Yeah, because they've done that with their own stuff.
So maybe it was just an oversight to get it ready for the initial launch.
Maybe you could just hijack from Lazy Forger and he could do it for you because he loves putting manual supports on things.
He does love supporting everything. So, yeah. Time will tell. Right, talking about supporting, Mantic Games is returning to an old friend.
Yeah, so Mantic have renewed their license with Skybound to bring The Walking Dead All-Out War back to the tabletop. To much joy and revelry. I was particularly happy to see this because I was about to dive into The Walking Dead just as they killed it. So just as they took down that walker, I was been like, oh, maybe I should get the starter set. Oh no. Oh well.
Oh well.
But yeah, they're going to be coming back bigger and better than before. They're going to be doing lots more expansion stuff for the game, and fingers crossed, even more with lots of relaunch options and things in there. Personally, as someone who was at the boot camp for The Walking Dead and really enjoyed the look of it, loved the game mechanics. I think their models were like the start of like Mantic doing really damn good board game stuff. Board game-esque stuff where it's all just one piece kind of thing. I think they are phenomenal and it's really nice to see all these coming back. Hopefully we'll get a chance to dive in and pick up loads and loads of Walking Dead stuff and have fun once again, either for people to complete their collections or to maybe even start them. That could be really cool. So,
well, they have said the initial set will be the Commonwealth.
Yes.
And it will be the same as the Whispers pack. So the last pack that came out for the Whispers was a hero pack and then a trooper pack. They were all resin. Similarly, the Commonwealth will be a set of heroes, some of the named people, and then a bunch of mooks to get shot repeatedly in the face. So they are starting with the wave, essentially wave 6, I think it would.
So sort of picking up where they left off.
Yeah.
In terms of the storyline and what they were going to do and stuff. Yeah.
They're still ironing out the wrinkles when it comes to how they're going to get the back catalogue up and running again.
Right.
So from the sounds of things, I imagine you won't see the entire catalogue available on day one of when they relaunch, because presumably they've got to get manufacturing back in place for that.
That's a lot of plastic.
There's a lot of plastic. So it'll be interesting to see what way they approach that, because they don't want to be just catering to people like me who have everything except whatever new stuff they're about to do.
Yeah.
But if people, missed out some of the older pieces or want to get started into it, then they want to be able to cater to them as well.
Yeah.
Just the question is how at the moment. I imagine they will not go to the Mantic Vault because of licensing.
Well, yes.
So yeah.
No, I think it's a really cool idea. It's glad that they came back to it. It's one of those situations where the community clearly were just like so vocal about it and wanting it to come back and all that kind of thing, that it's sort of pushed Mantic to be like, hey, Skybound, want to work together again? I mean, obviously they're doing the card game and stuff, which was quite nice. Well, the dice game, sorry. But it's really cool to see them dive back in and do this. Yeah.
And if you haven't played it, Walking Dead is an incredibly solid system, which really, it works particularly well for zombie-based games. Where the zombies aren't the threat.
Yes, the other party.
The other party is the threat. The zombies are just something to sit between you and the threat getting in the way sometimes, which is interesting in and of itself. Because I was thinking, even if they didn't resurrect The Walking Dead, then they really should reuse that system anyway. So they're doing something with it now, and that's a good thing.
I've also realized a lot of the terrain that they initially did for that has been folded into the terrain crate stuff, hasn't it, I guess? So that stuff is still all that out there in the wild. So if you are picking up some of this new stuff and maybe you missed out on the terrain, you can easily get your hands on that from Mantic, which is cool. So,
and you're already playing on a 20 by 20 inch board if you're not doing something insane. So
plenty of scope for a nice, really bespoke little gaming area.
Like the petrol station, the gas station that we saw one of our community do with the comic book style art and everything. Yeah.
It was Josh.
Yeah,
that was sweet to the beat. Anyway, yes. On the note of Mantic, Andy from Blackjack Legacy has joined them. So
he's come on board with them, yeah.
Congrats, well done, Andy. I look forward to seeing what happens next year. I'm expecting plenty of videos.
Yeah.
So
his live streams are great.
Be fascinating to see what he does then, because that's where Mantic lack somewhat in getting their face onto video. I know Ronnie will get his face onto any video, but just on a regular basis, getting stuff out there and showing people what's going on. Yeah. So it's good that Andy's there to steer the ship. Mm-hmm. Good luck with that, son. Right. Taking a look then at some flat things, but aren't flats.
Oh, what?
Flats.
Huh?
So Peter Dennis, of the Paperboys fame and illustrating most of the textbooks of my youth, has a collection called the Peter Dennis Signature Collection that's made by WoFun Games, which is short for World of Fun, in case anybody's wondering. So WoFun have been doing his 2D flats on printed acrylic, and recently they've got their hands on some of his other bits and pieces to do some scenery for the American War of Independence. And this is quite nice because it has all been illustrated by Peter. It has his same style of illustration, which is terrific, because then if you're putting down a range of his miniatures in and amongst the buildings, they all have that same look. They've all got the weathering, the highlighting, all the rest is done on it. The buildings themselves and the walls and snake rail fencing are all printed onto, I think, 2.5mm MDF. The walls and the trees are 2D, the same as the Tiny Fighting Men. The buildings, as you can see, are substantially bigger.
They're lovely. Wow.
So they're doing 3 buildings: small church, brick house, and log house, which is spot on if you're doing AWI. Also good if you're doing French Indian Wars, King Philip's War, American Civil War later on. There's no reason why they wouldn't work for that as well, because let's face it, some of these buildings are still standing today in town.
It's still the like next level up for the 3 Little Pigs. You've got the one built in wood, the one built in brick, and then the one protected by God. That's the last stage. Yeah.
That is. I thought the other one was the one which was built out of wolf skulls. It wasn't particularly sturdy, but it sent a message. So they come in 18 and 28mm, and they are exactly what you need for getting a rake of stuff onto the table quickly, which when you're playing with the flats, it's the way to go. I really like the trees.
They're lovely.
They've come to do 10 different species of trees, and the packs contain anywhere between 1 and 5 trees, depending on whether it's something like a majestic oak or some sort of tiny little elm type of affair, giving you more of a shrubbery look. And again,
because Peter Dennis does the trees for his papercraft stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
When you pick up any of Peter's stuff from Peter's Paperboys, you can pretty much put together an entire, a lot of peas in that sense, put together an entire tabletop completely out of paper stuff. So when he did Rourke's Drift, he made the buildings, the sandbag walls, the last redoubt. It's all available as papercraft stuff. So some of it is 2D and some of it is just folding the pieces up. But you can see there, I mean, it's like they're marching out of an illustration from one of his books and directly into the jaws of death from the Continental Army lined up behind a wall about to shoot them.
It's very, very pleasing to look at.
Yeah, it's a terrific way. 28mm, maybe not so much for me personally, but the 18mm, I've got 18mm Ancients and I've got 18mm ECW, and I'm currently hovering every now and again over Buy Me Everything from the 18mm Peter Dennis signature Napoleonic range, because I really think that in that scale, the flats really look tremendously good, and you can't tell that they're flats because they're almost as wide as they should be in reality when you think about an actual model, and having to do no painting on them. Some people I've seen have added a bit of base texture and static grass and stuff, and then painted the edges of the perspex so they don't stand out as shiny. But that seems like too much effort. If you're going to start going around every single edge and go blue jacket, it needs to be blue. It does look terrific, but I mean, at that stage, why not just leave everything in a cupboard with primer on it like I normally do? So just crack them out and onto a base and off you go.
That's the thing that I think is so good about the range as a whole, is that it's the perfect thing for, you want to play massive battles, but you don't want it to take over your life. You can just snap them all off, put them back into the boxes, and then, you know, put them at the bottom of the cupboard somewhere and wait until you next want to play the War of Independence. So,
just like Jerry. Just like that box there. It's filled with pike and shot, actually, that box, if I open it up. I mean, their tagline for World of Fun is to bring history into your home, and the whole idea is to encourage younger gamers into playing actual tabletop war games without having to have the stumbling block of having to buy, clean, and paint an army's worth of models. You can just go. Because
the rules are by Andy Callan as well, aren't they? So they're the ones that have appeared in the books that him and Peter Days did. For you can get them on Amazon, which is quite nice. But yeah, so, you know, nice little set of rules as well to help you through. And they're actually, it says they're easy, but they've actually got a nice little step up thing within the set of rules where it's like, and now it gets more complicated. So if you're playing with, you know, people who are slightly older, it's also a really nice stepping stone for people there too. So yeah, very
cracking stuff. Also, before we leave WoFun alone entirely, they've recently done a set of Napoleonics to go with Warwick Kinraid's Soldiers of Napoleon that him and Piers worked on. They've previously done this for Soldiers of Rome, where you can just buy a starter set.
Cool.
That will give you what you need to play that. And for Soldiers of Napoleon, they've come up with 4 or 5 national forces, so French, British, Prussian, Russian, that sort of thing, that are all keyed towards that game. So if you're planning on picking up Soldiers of Napoleon, which I have somewhere about there, and it's right at the top of my list of something to play for Napoleonics. So that could be a very easy way of picking those up and playing around with them.
Anyway, very nice.
Yeah. Anyway, where to next, Ben?
Next up, we're going to be going from history to fantasy once more, and looking at some stuff from the folks at Fighting Hedgehog, who normally do deal in history, I guess, but have actually stepped into the realm of fantasy with their Kickstarter that's coming up next year for DragonStrike. So if you're somebody who loves the epic clashes between the forces of good and Tiamat and stuff from the worlds of D&D, then you're definitely going to want to pick this up. So it's a dragon-based combat game where you can play as dragon riders for either the forces of good or evil, battling it out on a very awesome, lovely hex map. Gotta love a hex map. And the actual Kickstarter product, when it lands in your lovely lap, will come with pre-painted dragons, which is always a plus. Yeah, no more painting. But obviously, contrast would also work. There we go. But anyway, this game, if you've not checked it out before, is very cool. It can be played by, I think it's 2 to 4 players, so you can either have 2 teams or you can have just a 1v1 thing going on. You'll either play as the chromatic dragons or the metallic dragons, and you'll be batting it out over a variety of different scenarios. The one that I have played, and Jerry has also played and had some fun with, was one where you had to raid a cart that was sort of going through the middle of the map. In both cases, I'm fairly sure the guy who was driving the cart died, and all the dragons got burnt and set on fire and covered in acid and all sorts of different things as well, which is quite fun. The actual game system itself has gone through a little bit of an iteration over the last couple of weeks, I'd say, where they've kind of sharpened it up and tweaked things. It's done in with a hand of cards, and you'll use those to sort of plot your maneuvers between turns. And depending on the severity of the maneuvers that you do, you'll take stress, which will then affect your dragon, and damage as well over time. So it's a really interesting one of kind of plotting out not just the turn you're playing, but the turn coming up in front of you as well. So it's, and sort of anticipating what the other player can do as well, because the priority, the sort of initiative, the edge, as they call it, goes back and forth. So you really have to sort of get into your headspace of like, right, what do I think they're going to do next turn? Or like me, completely forget that and get burned. So that tends to be the way, but there we go.
Well, I mean, coming in hot on a cart.
Exactly.
So hot and fast that, in fact, that you can't stop in time to catch the cart and just have to fly right by. You're very Top Gun-esque in that. It was good. Hopefully that'll be coming out shortly. Let's play.
I was going to say they've sort of gone through and did some nice sort of updates and changes to things. As I said, they've kind of simplified a lot of the mechanics as well. I mean, it was a fairly simple game anyway, but they've kind of tweaked things there to make it a little bit more approachable. They've also done some really nice stuff with the way that things are laid out and the kind of the UI, I guess you'd say, of the game. And it's been done in a really nice way so that it's very approachable as a game. And if you're someone who likes dragons but got upset that Attack Wing was awful, this is probably going to be the game for you, I reckon. So make sure you check it out.
My goal is to get Francisco to actually line everything up on the quick reference sheet and take that box from that corner at the bottom, so it's all nice and straight. But if you think of it as a similar experience to X-Wing, as far as choosing maneuvers and the like goes, but with a few iterations of complexity on top of that, because X-Wing is fairly standard. You can. I don't think at any point you can never pull a maneuver off unless you've been banjaxed in some way. Shut up. Whereas in this one, you are limited to how fast you can accelerate and decelerate and turn, depending on what you're.
It's almost like dragons are real living creatures. Yes, they're real. They're real.
They are real. They are really real. The guys are very active from Fighting Hedgehog on their Discord as well, and I know they've been quite happy to run people through playtest games with the 2-player and 4-player as well. So if you fancy seeing what it's all about beforehand, I think there's a video out already anyway, lurking about there.
There is.
But it's worth signing up and going and having a chat with them and see if you can badger one of them into letting you play, see whether or not you can set fire to that cart.
The link in the show notes will carry you on through to sort of all their social media and stuff like that. So if you are interested and this has piqued your interest, as Jerry says, go and check it out on Discord and stuff. Yeah.
Sweet like candy. Right. We have a final bit of news. And this is a return of an old friend. Void 2.0 from Seb Games is up for pre-order. So this comes courtesy of the resurrection of all things Scottish that seems to be going on at the moment. So Void, Confrontation, Warzone, iCore and Target Games, the bastion of Scottish wargaming, writ large back in the 90s and early noughties is all coming back to us. And this box set will allow you to play Void 2.0 in its entirety with a cute little starter set. So it's up for pre-order now. The Gamebox contains, as you can see there, 50 plastic multi-part miniatures.
Nice. Wow.
Plus a pair of metal miniatures for your leaders. And then if you pre-order it, you'll also get a bonus Viridian Trooper who's lurking up the top there. But yeah, you can get your Viridians and Junkers and just go ham as you fight out your science fiction games in the galaxies of tomorrow. I'm really excited to see what they do with this and how they take it forward, because obviously they've been republishing old stuff, but they've been going back in to adapt the rules, bring it up to speed so that you have something that's still very similar to what older gamers will remember, but something that will be more accessible to, I suppose, modern gamers who want things easier and faster, as I'm often told, less complex. I really like also the Praetorian. Good old Praetor Maximus. Bop everybody upside the head. Get in there and just start lamping all around you. Really nice thing, apart from having all the dice templates and everything else you need, because it is a D10 based system and not everybody's heaving with D10 left, right, and center, is that the game box also contains a little campaign booklet, which has been written by one of the original creators of Void, Mark Brendan. So he's written a campaign system for it, or a little narrative campaign called The Battle for Monosarius 3, which is, I just like it, bridging the gap between the original and the new. It's a delight for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this creeps out. So if you want it, you can pre-order it now. It's shipping in February, is the plan anyway. So you've got a couple of months in case you need to wait till post-Christmas when you've got money back in the bank account again after all the bills have been paid and the like.
I love that Seb Games are basically going, we liked this game. Can we help bring it back to life? Oh, we can. There we go.
Yeah. There's a really nice, on the Seb Games website, there's a really nice tutorial on how to convert, because obviously the plastic miniatures for the Interdict Marines and the Legionnaires are not monopose, but they're multi-part, but there's only a couple of sculpts within them. So they've done a whole thing about how to do quick conversions. And it just reminds me so much of like old White Dwarves and things like that, where they were going, cut this leg off, twist it, he's now running, get in there, stick that pie on for a kneecap, bosh.
Love it.
Just upgrade it. Just those little fancy bits of things. So yeah, if you want to give Void 2.0 a bit of a dusting off and a go off, then you may as well get stuck in now. Pre-order it, get yourself a free Viridian Marine, throw it away, stick to the Junkers, they're better. Get some Gladiators, lovely. Right, enough of the news. We shall take a quick swish and return to finish off the show in just one moment. All right, folks, time to take a look at some 3D printing, courtesy of 3D Breed.
Ooh.
So we've looked at these guys in the past,
yes,
when they've released ranges in the news, that sort of thing, but we've never actually had
on Kickstarter and things.
We've never come and poked round their house, checked down the back of the sofa, see what they have.
Give me your STLs.
I thought we should, because it's an interesting little place to frolic through.
Yeah.
They have currently 9 ranges, mostly historical, although you will see there is something a little bit sci-fi and something a little bit fantasy in the middle.
I just saw John's eyebrows go, oh.
But, well, we'll start with the Sky Shards. But yeah, it's an eclectic mix of stuff. As they say, they are gamers themselves and therefore passionate about the stuff they put together for games. Ergo, sometimes we get a lot of 3D printed stuff that are done by people who play RPGs incorrectly, which means that they look really good, but realistically they don't fit in with other ranges if you're looking to use them somewhere outside of that.
Yeah.
Because of that, this is aimed at gamers. They're very scale specific and style specific as well. As you can see there, the little Arrival collection of 6mm mechs with the whole Galvy bucket load of friends, including Leviathan, Dag, Titan, Hydra, Centaur, blah, 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 blah. I'm fairly certain some of these, by any other name, could appear in BattleMech quite happily.
Yeah. There's a few similarities going on there, but you know what? They're different enough.
It's the way to do it, though.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get people in there, or if you want to go, you know what, Lloyd, you really should play BattleMech. Here's some samurai-esque mechs running around the place. That's all you need for Lloyd.
So, not House Kurita. Oh,
could be worse.
Half Gundam, half BattleTech.
Jade Falcon scumbags. I quite like this, the Yamato.
We found the front of a ship, or the ass end of a ship, and then stuck some legs on the side.
It's one way of doing it. Just drag yourself towards the horizon. But this, John, this is what you're after.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's terrain. Yeah.
So creepy alien things.
I'm coming down with 6mm terrain options now at the minute.
Good. As is only right and proper. Because what else would you do?
I did actually at one point try to get a 6mm version of the Chernobyl power plant.
Ooh.
And realized I couldn't get it in detail enough that I wanted to use. And it came in 2 versions, exploded and unexploded.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Have they done one where they've built a big bunker over the top of it?
No, they haven't. Shame.
Shame. Because that's kind of funky.
I was wondering if it was just someone had designed a power plant and then just stuck like a Ferris wheel on the side and been like, yeah, look, see, that was
it's Chernobyl.
Yeah.
It's never beyond the realms of possibility. Anyway, so Sky Shards,
that's really awesome.
Alien bits and pieces, including fleets.
Your
O-ness, you, Mr. Man.
Those are nice.
And I like that fleece as well.
Ooh.
We'll have a look at that one for John, because I'm sure he'll want to see it.
What scale are these then?
The fleets?
The fleets, yeah.
They're scaled for 1 billion suns.
I was about to say.
All fleets are scaled for 1 billion suns.
Oh, I love that, with the gravity ring around there.
Gravity rings, yeah. Which is something we see a lot on sci-fi, but don't see a huge amount of on our science fiction flying ship things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because people can't be bothered. It's little circles. I'm not doing that.
You will float everywhere.
Everybody floats. If you don't want to float,
bones will become separated from each other.
Tie yourself down. That's how it works. You two can be giant guns. Massive guns in space. This is only right and proper.
I can't remember if it was on her. I was having a conversation with somebody else. Did you hear that thing about the people in the space station where they went up and they went to the toilet and they lost the poo and they've never found it, and it's still floating around somewhere on the space station?
That's I mean, by this stage I imagine it's desiccated somewhat.
There's like a sneaky one.
Wake up some night.
Can't take you anywhere, can I? Absolutely, the 100% the worst. Very quickly have a look at some of the betrayal, because there's a couple of factions in here which are interesting. There's our Catharos. Have a look at some of those. And where's our Vanu?
This is a range that I've not seen from them before, because I've seen a lot more of their like World War II bits and pieces in their Wild West thing. So it's really cool to see their sci-fi and fantasy offerings. Yeah. Ooh.
So these are very Grecian-esque.
Yeah.
Fantasy race. I'm not sure about the big Shire horse hooves going on there. It's definitely an aesthetic. It's a choice.
It probably makes them pretty easy to print, to be fair.
I imagine that's probably why they've gone with it. But I like the Vanu a lot because they're sort of Mesoamerican.
Yeah.
So what happens when the Greeks tried to build all those pyramids all over South America? Eventually, the Vanu had to go, "Oh, look, Atlanteans, no."
Well, I could see these done with kind of like obsidian skin, almost. I think that could be really cool. And then green for their armor to go with like a jade thing or something.
Oh, you're going full drow.
Yes.
It's a bit different of you. As you can see, they come via the medium of multi-parts.
Ooh.
So you can mix and match your Vanu.
Say slan worshipping humans.
Yeah. So, good idea.
Also, yes. It's a good way to do it. It's a good way to do it. But again, they also have a couple of big chunky pieces in there as well.
My other god is a big toad. It's what's on the back of their cars. Yeah.
You can get Feather Serpent up for that, mate.
I think that's probably better than Slam.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I eat toads.
You're not right.
Catharos Temple. Destroyed and perfect. Yep.
Yeah. Both flavors. Before Quetzalcoatl has arrived and after.
Both with and without Elgin marbles.
Current management and new management.
Anyway, so yeah. So I quite like the little sojourn into fantasy and sci-fi. However, the real meat and potatoes is obviously the Wild West, which is why we're here.
Can we also look at that 10 mil epic battles thing as well?
I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a look at Wanted or Die
these are
first.
Great. I love these. Yeah. Join or Die Wanted.
Absolutely spanking gorgeous. Including, bless you,
Yeah.
Sioux and the US Marshals and the Mexicans. A whole battalion of Crispins coming at you, both mounted and unmounted.
Those are brilliant.
Yeah. Just missing the mariachi band. I imagine some of them play in their spare time, but don't tell them right now.
Yeah.
Going, "Hey, gringo, we don't need no stinking badges."
And you get the mounted versions of them as well, which is always handy for a Wild West game. So,
Yep. There's an awful lot of Wild West games that have the option, and an awful lot of companies that don't do the option, which is, sadly disappointing in every respect. The Marshalls as well. I mean, these are some of they are sweet, sweet sculpts.
They really are. Yeah.
If only somebody made them in metal.
Their clear basing as a choice is very good with that as well.
Yeah.
Means you don't have to think or anything. Could be in a house, could be in the dirt.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. It's the thing I always say about clear basing. It's great for games where you're going to be going from interior to exterior locations a lot. So a lot of people do it for Infinity because you're going to be going in and out of sort of objective builds and things like that. With the Wild West, you're going to be in a bank one moment, then you're going to be out on the street the next, or on a train or something. So having the fact that you can just see the clear basing, which represents everywhere, is a great idea. So, they're also amazing.
Yeah,
I just love I love the posing on them as well. There's not a model that doesn't look heroic. They all look like badasses, which is always nice. Yeah.
Then you can scalp Kevin Costner.
Yeah, that guy who stole the revolver, he's awesome. I love him. Yeah.
So no Dirty Comanche yet, I don't think. But I haven't seen them.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
I think I'd only seen their bounty hunters and their outlaws originally, so it's really cool to see that expanded. Yeah.
Oh yeah, massively so, including 7th Cavalry and some legends. I'm going to start with
some legends of the Old West.
With the piano player and Clint Eastwood hiding in a barrel.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is Clint Eastwood, but his hair's a bit bouffant on it.
Whenever the piano player plays the right key, the coffin opens and closes.
I can't see a music hall piano player anymore without thinking of the "Play Me Off, Johnny" from Family Guy.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
I know how that ended.
Yes, we do. 7th Cav looking very
ready to die.
Yeah. I'll harden them in many respects.
Sabers at the ready.
Far less wet legends.
Cool.
You could have the coward John Wayne.
I was about to say, wait, Carlton Chill Jerry says the coward John Wayne.
Just saying. Everybody else fought for their country. He stayed at home and told people he was great. So yeah, a whole slew of stuff for One Didn't Die, including stagecoaches and all the rest. So anything you need if you want to play any standard Wild West game.
Especially as Wild West gaming has been on that kind of like upward curve over the last couple of months. Yeah. People really diving in and playing around with it.
Try and put it down to me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I've no idea if that's what it is. But
the routine mentioning of Dead Man's Hand at every opportunity probably helps, I think. So, yeah.
That's a nice train, too.
Look, you can run along the top on your clear base and then load down on top of people.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Good.
That's it exploding when it just goes into the cannon. After it's hit 88 miles an hour and sent
I was about to say. Because it's the same train type, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. It's all good. So yeah. Wiki Wiki Wawa, obviously great. Have a look at the tiny epic battles, shall we?
Oh, you got to do World War II for John. You got to do World War II.
I will do World War II for John since John asked so nicely. So
you will look at it, John.
You can see up the top there are packs for specifics. So it's though it's got Napoleonics on the front. It's not just Napoleonics, but there are some. The big all-in is probably a good way to go for that, actually. Oh, too tiny.
These fighting men are too small.
More pictures. You two can have
You get loads of stuff, though. Yeah.
Mm.
Done in a similar style to the epic battle stuff from Warlord in terms of look and feel. So they could marry up quite nicely, which I think is quite good.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
Are they the same scale?
They're not. They're slightly smaller on it because they're 10 rather than 13.5. So.
You can always ambiguate these, can't you?
Yeah, you could scale up a bit. You'd have to do a few test prints, normal, then +5, +10. See where it matches.
I imagine somebody's already done it if you Google it. What size do I need to increase these by to get them to work for epic battles?
Yeah.
Somebody will go, I think you'll find 8.75 is best. You go, okay, thank you. Saunter on
Lovely
past the
stuff.
Austrians. Find us the Stamford Bridge horde. You like a bit of the old Stamford Bridge, Ben? I know you do.
I do. It's so good. Dark Age awesomeness. Oh, yeah.
There's Harold.
But he's so small. How did they hit him with an arrow?
Arrows are really big.
They're just scud missiles.
Yeah. I love that Harold Hudrada in that set.
It's massive.
He's massive.
That's how you know it's Harold.
Yeah.
He's the best. Go on the hard charger.
It's not about not wearing a helmet to be important. It's about being taller than the people around you.
Yeah.
That's how I live my life.
Measure your importance by your height.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Poor Sam.
Remember the time we did the unboxing for Hellboy and I made him stand beside me? Because normally I would sit down or something to compensate the height. I was like, no, you just stand there. You stand there and look short, Sam. Anyway, so yeah, you two can have Stamford Bridge or Hastings discuss, depending on what you're after for the little teeny tiny.
Everyone forgets Fulford.
Yeah. That's because it's a terrible fjord. Right. Job wanted to have a look at this, didn't he?
Yeah, well, we'll have a gander, sure.
Yeah, I want to look. Yeah, look.
So, Germans and Americans and British. Everybody likes a good march into hell. British,
don't make me criticize it.
Feel free.
No, I couldn't. It's not fair.
It's always fair.
It's a fine representation of a Jeep.
It's very diplomatic of you, John.
I think these are specifically sculpted to be printable as 15s or 28s. So
yeah,
I imagine they started
15. That's going to look great,
and then people can embigulate it to 28. At which point you lose some detail and get a bit more of the chunkification.
You're losing a bit, and at least they've done the Jeep right for the desert. They've cut most of the slats out of the grille on the front.
That's cool.
Just left the radiator open.
Mm.
Please, desert, stop trying to set fire to my engine. Please
stop trying to burn water.
Give me all the air. Little African motorcycles.
Yeah. The thing that's really nice about this as well is that because I'd only really seen the 3D breed stuff through their Kickstarters, but it's good to see that once they've done with that, they've carried on.
They keep expanding,
and they're expanding things and building on it and being like, if you missed out on the Kickstarter, there's still loads of the stuff that we did for you to go and check out. It's really cool. So yeah, is he raising a glass of wine?
It could be dropping a mortar into something, or showing people that he's left in his canteen.
Yeah.
It's a strange shape that he's holding.
Oh, I know what he is. He's a medic. That's a bottle of blood. Just missing the wire going into.
I think it's wine.
You may continue to think that. Remind me not to accept any glasses of wine at your house. Do not drink wine. Let's move away from the British, because as you can see, there are substantial. French Foreign Legion. You don't often see those. Jump on a little bit.
Because I remember they've done various theatres and lots of the forces within those theatres as well, haven't they? So there's pretty much all of World War II, I think.
Yeah,
especially on the European side of things. So yeah,
French Foreign Legion, along with Singhalese. They don't have their big machetes.
I like that. Yeah. That guy's shouting at his mortar shell.
We have a modular village for Africa as well.
Mm.
Again, The mix of infantry and terrain's always handy.
Yes.
You two can do a one-stop shop, pick up armor and the like. And the little French. Look at there we go. Finally, there's the LRDG wagon.
Yep. What were they? I can't remember what they are. Chevrolets?
Chevrolets, yeah.
I think they are. Yeah, there you go.
You knew,
John. I pulled that out of my backside.
Donuts all over the place.
Oh, Christmas special as well.
From last year. Let's see what they did last year. Christmas in North Africa. He's playing a squeeze box.
He is.
Why would they let him do that? It's Christmas. Please
the present to me is that you don't play your instrument.
Do not, under any circumstances, play that squeeze box.
I'm also going to say, because I seen a Valentine on the listings there, that the Valentine is the only tank in the Tank Museum that gets a Valentine's Day card.
Amazing.
People do write it Valentine's cards.
Wow.
Every year the Tank Museum puts up a picture going, "Thank you very much, everybody," and it's like the Valentine covered in Valentine's cards.
Brilliant.
Little American GIs as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could fumble through the rest of World War II for some time, but before it goes on too long, I want to have a quick look at NAM. And while I know they do say 28, I think these really sell themselves for the 15s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But look, you can have a Vietnamese village and an OnTos.
Oh, an OnTos. That's Shay's new favourite vehicle.
Is it?
Yep.
The vehicle's so ridiculous that the rest of the US military went, "No, we're not doing that." And the
Marines went,
yes.
We want 200 of them.
6 recoilless rifles strapped to the side of a small carrier, you say? Well, why not? Why not do that?
What makes it more stupid and amazing is that to aim the recoilless rifles, there are spotting rifles on top of each of the big rifles, but the spotting rifles are 50 caliber rifles. So it has 650 caliber shots to aim the 105 recoilless rifles.
No way.
That's a set of tracer fire you do not want to be caught in.
You see that coming in and you go, "Oh, that was only 6 shots." Never.
Wow. What a mad vehicle.
Oh, I will send you a video later, Ben. There's a great guy called Fat Electrician that talked about it, and he...
Right.
Perfect. Hey, fan thing.
Airboat. You can pretend to be Archer in the Florida Everglades. Yeah.
Another properly solid range of stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Civilians or actually just hiding?
Could go either way.
Yeah.
You just don't lead them as much.
Yeah.
Terrible man. So yeah, NAM's interesting. NAM's one that I'm still looking forward to seeing. Warwick had talked about doing, I think it was NAM 68, where it'd be more narrative driven.
Right.
Where you're going out to do patrols, and then you may or may not encounter things in the patrols. You don't know. You might get back totally unscathed, or you might get, schwacked completely. And that, I think, could be interesting, because that's how I always picture Vietnam. It's the small platoons, and over time, people get veteran, people get killed, new Greens come in and join. So yeah,
it really feels more like a either AI driven or GM driven game. I think NAM fits the best because it's hardly ever a stand up fight.
Yeah, springing traps on you and ambushes and all sorts of different things.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's good old Benedict.
He's a real Benedict Arnold. My name is Benedict Arnold. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Doesn't
Best
say.
bet. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. He was absolutely great in the American War of Independence. Everybody loved him. When he lost his leg, there's a story that isn't true, that his leg was buried with full honors because that hadn't turned traitor to America.
I want that to be true.
It was the leg was the one part of him that wasn't a traitor, so it got full honors after the war. But it's really nice to see him.
As bad as Douglas Barter. when he crashed and he asked for a replacement leg to be dropped over the prison.
Campsite and Angie Bear. How Angie is the bear, time will tell. That's really nice.
That's a cute little totem.
Yeah.
It is.
Don't see enough of them.
That's a fairly angry and sleepy bear.
Yeah, well, before eating the children, after. Sometimes
you're not you when you're hungry.
Yeah. Or before and after snorting the cocaine. Yes.
Cocaine bear. There's John Reed on his way to feed the bear.
Doesn't he look dashing?
It's a good look. I like this range. The 1775 stuff is really cute. Join or die, they say. Why not both? Why not both?
Got a George Washington there and everything as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely little set.
That's a range I was unaware of until I came browsing. All the
you can't escape
bits. No, well, we're all been there. Full fort plus friends.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen? Oh, don't remember the name of it now. Oh, that's a terrible shame. Well, I guess we'll never know what I may have seen in the past. I'm not going to say anymore. But it would have made sense in conjunction with this.
Those are those pigs that live in those houses that we were looking at.
With the wolf skulls above the door.
That's the ones. That's the one. Of the church. And in this good old gallows. That's where the best humour comes from. But anyway, yeah, 3D breed. A lot going on there.
Very nice.
Especially for the smaller gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean scale, not size. Makes sense to me. Shut up.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
Right, we have a couple of Kickstarters to round out the show. Where are we starting then, Benjamino?
So we're going to be starting off with the folks at DakkaDakka once more, who are back on Kickstarter with another campaign that is looking to outfit your Space Legionnaires of the grimdark future. This one is called Pactum Aeternum, and this allows you to drop a whole host of 3D printable gubbins and all sorts of different things into the mix for use with your Crusaders, your Wardens, and your Knights. So if you're one of those people who's playing the likes of the Black Templars or the Dark Angels, for example, these are going to be very, very nice bits and pieces for you to throw into the mix and use alongside them. So if you're looking to add on weapons, heads, shoulder pads, backpacks, shields, and everything else in between, they have lots of different options for you to choose from, which I think is very, very nice. All very, very well sculpted. And as we've seen in the past from a lot of their different projects, they come out particularly nicely once you get them through the 3D printer. I think we looked at some of the Scylla Legion stuff in our hands, and it was very nice. I think Shay was particularly impressed.
Shay took them off me.
Shay is painting them.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Shows that Shay very much enjoys them. So that's a good tick in the right box. So yeah, loads of different options for you to choose from across the three kind of variants, as you can see. So Crusader, Warden, Knights. You can either go for just one of them, or you can mix and match and choose various selections if you prefer, and just see where you go. So yeah, very nice stuff there, all in all.
Testy printy as well. Very fancy.
Free bits for you to try as well, which is always good. See what you think of them before you dive in and give it a go yourself. And it's always nice seeing the actual sort of final pictures of the models. So once they've actually been attached to things and painted up and stuff like that. So you get a sense of how they blend nicely into what already exists out there, which I think is key. Even bits and pieces for vehicles and bases and all sorts of different things. So yeah. Very cool. Fancy
indeed. Our prize this week is one of these, isn't it?
Yes, so it's one of the bundles, effectively, of the stuff that you get. So there will be a lovely image that will pop up. It'll guide you through exactly what's in it. But Ty will also have the details in the show notes as well. So if you are like, ooh, this looks really cool, you want to dive in and check this one out. You have to be a backer if you want to win your pledge, though, effectively. So make sure to do that, which is always good. So yeah,
very fancy, Mr. Bond. Very fancy indeed.
Yeah,
and a whole host of bits unlocked via the medium of social goals as well, and some others hopefully will be unlocked soon.
There's even a special there's even a special fantasy miniature as well. That's the bonus, which is quite nice. There you go.
Bonus fantasy
the
miniature.
Mounted heavy samurai.
Heavy samurai.
Looking badass.
It's not that fantasy.
I don't know.
I've seen him coming out of the woods, bopping Billy Connolly upside the head. I'll teach him. Not so clever now, big yin, are you? Oh. But there you go. DakkaDakka's Pactum Aeternum. That is already funded as well. So, yes, if you fancy getting in on that, you can do this thing. Plenty of time left ahead of you. And also, you can win it if you're a backer. All right, we have une more. And this one is a delightful little one that has blown up, as these things are wont to do. It is the Mythic Bastionland's RPG. Before Into the Odd. So, obviously, big fans of Into the Odd and Electric Bastionlands. And the idea behind this is essentially the myths that are told in those places. So, think Arthurian legends that have grown up in time, where they're probably not actually really what happened, but it's what's been handed down or what's been sort of flowing around. And in the Mythic Bastionland, you play a knight, you can gain glory and renown, you rule your land, and you have to go out there, squirrel, and do the Lord's own work to solve the myths, I think, is probably a good way of putting it. So obviously a lot of the Arthurian legends revolve around knights questing, knights going on a journey, trying to find specific things, or maybe deal with a monster or whatever it happens to be within the area. Same sort of thing here. You gain sort of glory and renown by completing myths. So when a white lady is, harvesting the villagers from a local bog, then it's time to strap on your big bog boots and go and find her and kill her up. So it's
your big bog boots.
Your big bog boots. That is how you do it. Find one of those horses with those massive fetlocks, and because they'll be able to stand on the bog for a bit longer. So like the other games, Into the Odd and Electric Bastionland, relatively rules light. A lot going on with the actual look and design. And this is something that Chris has said, which I absolutely adore. This is the book I want to produce. This is the book we will be producing. No, there won't be stretch goals or anything like that, because if I can't make it the way I want, I'm not making it. So there's nothing left out, left off, or anything else. Here is everything that I want to put out there in book form. I'll throw up the thingy things as well, along with a ton of illustrations from the illustrator who did Electric Bastionlands as well. I want to say Sorensen, but don't hold me to that.
The artwork is phenomenal. Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
There's a couple of interesting bits and pieces in here. If I go to this, so the quick start rules, you can have a look at where he's been doing a change log as he's been tweaking stuff and playing about with things. But there's they call it hex leagues. So it's a hex map based game.
Right.
Where a hex is the land. It's land within the land. Some people, like peasants, will never leave their little hex. But a hex league is generally how far you can journey in a day kind of thing, So it's a nebulous, it's not a fixed set of directions, or fixed set of measurements, rather. It's just an area. But part and parcel of this is you build up the land that you're exploring. I can do this, can't I? I can. Boop-de-boop. Ta-da! So there's just one, big or small. Those are my choices. So you can see here that they've got a whole slew of spark tables, little spark of inspiration. So if you're GMing, you don't have to think up everything immediately in advance. You can roll it on the spot. But if you want to sit down with the old hex graph paper and work out your land, you can roll on this, and it gives you the character of the land. So, a barren heath or a sparse heath or an overgrown heath, so bump. You've got your different styles of landscape with a little descriptor as well. And then for each of them, you have D12 of those tiles. So rather than all of a sudden getting a single mountain tile in the middle of plains, so it's like plains, mountain, plains, you get, foothills and a range of peaks, that sort of thing. So you can put it together in that regards, which should make generating your land a bit more interesting. But these tables I absolutely adore. Anybody who knows me knows I love random tables when it comes to RPGs. But being able to just go in and use them as descriptors, or use them, as they say, the spark tables, to spark a little narrative of your own. So when you run into the bartender in the town and you can go, well, what are they like? You can then just quickly look at this elderly, drab barman with a soothing, poetic, lilting voice. You can just boom, write on a notebook beside you, name them, put the descriptor, and then the next time somebody comes back into town, or the next time they encounter that person, you already know what they're like, and you don't have to try and recreate it or create a load of them in advance. So I really like those as a just general thing to have anyway. But yeah, the whole idea with Mythic Bastionland is to have this very narrative, very descriptive built world that you can play within without it being massively rules heavy. So you can leave a lot of the rules at the door. And when you see the inspiration there, things like the Prince Valiant comics, Excalibur, Pendragon, which is an amazing RPG, Green Knight film, that was terrible. Looked good, very badly done, and edited by a blind man, unfortunately. And if anybody thinks I'm being too harsh and hasn't seen that film, watch that film and tell me where the axe goes. Because he has it at one point, he gets robbed and loses his horse, and then like 20 minutes later in a completely different scene, the axe is back with him. Presumably it was a homing axe or carried by some swallows. Anyway.
Maybe.
It's just very badly edited. So there are there's a let's play, some bits and pieces where Chris shows you how the hex mapping works, and then a few other bits and bobs in there if you're interested in seeing other people looking into it and exploring the mythic world. But I love the idea of it being the myths of Into the Odd and what came before those worlds that aren't real worlds. So, I think he says they're mythical lands that you can reach if you know the way, which is a fantastic way of describing things. And I'm 100% on board for that. So there we have it, folks.
Yeah.
That wraps us up for another week. We shall return on Sunday for our XLBS. If you're interested in joining us, then come over to OnTableTop.com. Get involved, have a wander around. It's a lovely old place. We'll be talking hobby, ours and yours.
Yeah.
And otherwise, we'll be back next week for more of the same. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.